You know, there's those movies where you look back and you almost feel like you're looking at a different industry, a different world. It's almost like, when did these movies ever exist? Because they literally do not exist at all today.
That's not good.
It would be better with a whole bridge.
And that's worse.
Why don't you just drop me off here? I'll catch a cab.
Too late now.
Hey everyone, my name's Jim and you have landed on Planet Rewind, the place to be to reminisce with fellow movie fans and nostalgia nuts. Please consider subscribing if you like what you see. So guys, Smokey and the Bandit, like, some of you guys are not going to know this. Like, if you know about these movies, you're going to be loving this. But if you don't know about these movies, hopefully you'll watch them after watching this video. Basically, in a nutshell, they're about Burt Reynolds' character, Bo, known as Bandit, who is this retired race car driver who is now basically this guy who takes on jobs and is a bit of a renegade. And he, in the first Smokey and the Bandit, takes a offer to drive and transport some beer from one side of the country to another along with his friend, the Snowman, played by Reed, and he gets chased by Sheriff Buford T. Justice, played by Jackie Gleason. It's just basically a wild chase road trip car movie, the likes of which you do not get at all these days. Fast and Furious can eat Smokey and the Bandit's shit. If you don't know the movies, welcome to an introduction to these great classic movies which you really should watch. This is a classic cult movie series. This is a niche, guys. So there's 3 Smokey and the Bandit movies. There is also some made-for-TV special movies, but I won't count them. Never seen them, heard they're god-awful, so why bother? These are the kind of theatrical Smokey and the Bandit movies. And let's start off ranking them. Sadly, we have to start off with a bad one. The third Smokey and the Bandit movie, Smokey and the Bandit 3, is terrible. It's a load of old arse. It's a shame I have to start off with this one, because you guys who don't know about these movies are just going to be thinking, this sounds awful. This sounds dreadful. Why would I ever want to watch this? Smokey and the Bandit 3 is not at all an indication of the first 2 films. It's really disappointing and it's a complete and utter cash-in. It basically focuses more on the sheriff, and that's a problem because the sheriff is very funny. Jackie Gleason is very funny in the first 2 movies, but he's funny in pockets of screen time. This one he gets too much screen time and he gets a bit annoying. Burt Reynolds, the iconic bandit, is not in this movie. He's not in this movie, and guess what? His mate from the other 2 movies, the Snowman, played by Reed, plays the bloody bandit. Well, he doesn't play it. He basically, they admit it's not the bandit, but he runs around going, I'm going to be the bandit in this movie. I'm going to be the bandit. So he dresses up like Burt Reynolds in this and goes off and does the job. You can't make this shit up. People like to have a go at Smokey and the Bandit Part 2, saying it's a rehash, which I really do not agree with. This is literally a rehash. This is actually a cash-in. This is literally the same movie without Burt Reynolds and with not much to it either. Like, it's just, we will just go through the motions again, put these 2 having a chase through the country and cash in on it. The comedy isn't great in this, the jokes wear thin, everything just seems really forced. Reed even picks up a lady and gives her a lift, as the bandit does in the first Smokey and the Bandit, and it's just rehashing that romance tale, but not as good. Reed is no Burt Reynolds. These movies need Burt Reynolds, is something I realised watching Smokey and the Bandit 3. The lady he picks up is no Sally Field, because Sally Field plays the lady from the first 2 Smokey and the Bandits. Again, you're missing 2 really charismatic actors in Sally Field and Burt Reynolds, and the strength of those other films, which I'm going to talk about, is that relationship. And Reed is a big part of that, but on his own, he's just not going to deliver. And on his own, Jackie Gleason, the sheriff, is just not that good. He just gets a bit annoying because it's just the same old shit, really. So there we go. The bandit was off playing Monopoly, and he actually appears in a dream kind of sequence at the end of the movie, which is even more offensive. Don't have him in it then. If Burt Reynolds isn't going to be in the whole film, don't have him in a stupid little sequence at the end where you're just like, wow. Like, the second you see him, you're like, wow, this would have been better. This is just a concrete proof this would have been better if Burt Reynolds was in this, because the few moments where you see Burt Reynolds at the end of Smokey and the Bandit 3 are better than anything else in the movie. Now let's get into some actual good Smokey and the Bandit movies, because the first 2 I think are brilliant, so let's talk about them. Believe it or not, I am putting the first Smokey and the Bandit from 1977 as number 2. Which is not an insult, it's not a knock, because I absolutely love the first 2 films. This is going back to a time where you would have themed movies. You would have biker movies, you would have trucker movies, you would have road trip movies. You'd have every little kind of subculture of movies. And they were so interesting, you could make movies out of them. Now, what do you have? The fucking Kardashians. Might as well just put Kim Kardashian in a fucking women in prison movie. Like that's the most you can do these days. There's no subcultures. There's no excitement around difference anymore. You know, these were unique characters and movies, and everyone, and you know, there's a lot of different identities, and you know, there was hippie movies back here. I mean, there was everything. You know, there was a real excitement of Hollywood getting moving, I guess, as we were moving into the kind of, you know, the new Hollywood era. Real ambition and real spark throughout Hollywood, where they just would try things. Yes, everything's been tried now, and I don't want to turn into a rant on modern movies, but there's nothing to adapt now. It's just superhero movies, and that's it. Whilst, you know, gangster movies aren't really a thing anymore, types of comedies aren't really a thing, teen comedies, just superheroes to the end of time. There's a real coolness, a real escapism, a real carefree and light-hearted feeling to this film. It is actually a kids' movie. It really is. You know, I can imagine, you know, I knew members of my family who I would speak to who grew up watching this movie. You know, I saw it on VHS as a kid, and I've only really got into them recently. I really wish I'd watched it as a kid, because Burt Reynolds as the Bandit is a fantastic character to get behind for a youngster. He's so cool, he's so charismatic. Burt Reynolds, they don't make him like him anymore. What a fantastic actor. You want to be the Bandit. His life seems so carefree and awesome. So of course, when he's trying to transport this beer across the country with the help of his friend, the Snowman, played by Jerry Reed, he's speeding along and he picks up a runaway bride, played by Sally Field, which I didn't know Sally Field was in this movie, but she is fantastic. That little camaraderie between Sally Field, Burt Reynolds and Jerry Reed is, for me, the glue that makes Smokey and the Bandit work. Jackie Gleason as the sheriff who is pursuing is a really integral part. He's really entertaining, he's really funny. But for me, it's those 3 characters. You know, I think they're really, they play off each other so well. And the Burt Reynolds and Sally Field relationship is really sweet. It's really organic. It's really believable. You know, I love that kind of innocent, kind of, you know, regular person getting into some trouble or mischief, which is what happens to Sally Field's character. She gets in the car with this crazy, wild, you know, free-thinking guy who's doing this crazy job, and she gets involved in a crazy adventure. I love that, where normal people get involved in this bigger, more entertaining world, because it's a real relatable, fun, escapist kind of idea. Some fantastic, obviously, road scenes, a fantastic jump over a ramp, which I remember because as soon as the Bandit does the jump over the bridge, Sally Field goes, "I want to jump something else, I want to jump something else." It's hilarious. Brilliant stuff. This was directed by a real life stuntman, Alan Edam, you know, so you can see the passion coming through of how much he loves cars and this kind of wild driving and this and that. It's just, there's such a sense of excitement and fun and wonder to this movie. There's some real ingredients in this, and of course that foil to the Bandit and Jackie Gleason, you know, one of the perfect comedy sheriffs ever on film.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
And I like how this film again takes you back to a time, you could not do this today, where the police were the villains. Like, Jackie Gleason is the villain in this. Burt Reynolds as the Bandit is actually the good guy. You know, you never root for Jackie Gleason, the sheriff, to capture the Bandit. You never root for him. You know, you root for the Bandit to outsmart him. This is just a different world. You know, the rebellious nature of this film is incredible. It never feels weird that you're rooting for a villain, really. It never feels weird. It feels right. The movie's very authentic, very entertaining. It's got a real kind of unity on it, because the Bandit has so many friends in different cities that he drives through who all come together. There's a sense of community and friendship in this movie. And the film is better directed than the second one, which I obviously placed first. You know, it's more organic, it feels more cool, but I just prefer the second one. And let's get on to the second, Smokey and the Bandit.
What do you do?
Well,
Straight.
I just go from
place to place and do what I do best.
What's that?
Show off.
And just before we move on to Smokey and the Bandit Part 2, let's remember that Smokey and the Bandit was the second most profitable film of 1977. Guess what was number one? You guessed it, Star Wars. But that shows how popular this film is. It was a phenomenal success. Smokey and the Bandit Part 2 from 1980 was also a fantastic box office success. Burt Reynolds came back, Sally Field came back, Jerry Reed came back, Jackie Gleason came back, and for me it was just fun and games from the get-go. Performances are just as good in this. You know, the actors slip right back into their characters, and in this there's an emotional journey for the bandit. There's a character development for the bandit. In this one, he is longing back to his glory days. He longs for the days when everyone would know him, and that's kind of what we witnessed in Smokey and the Bandit. Everyone knew him, everyone thought he was so cool. In this, he's kind of losing that, and I feel like you can look at it in a couple of ways. People might not like this movie because Burt Reynolds isn't as cool in it. You know, he has cool moments, he's still the bandit, but, you know, he's on his way down. You know, he feels at a different place in his life. And I like how they actually, you know, were willing to take that risk in the second film, make him not as cool and make him more of a human character, going on more of an emotional journey, more of a character arc. I don't understand people who say, you know, lots of critics have said, this is the same movie redone. No, Smokey and the Bandit Part 3 is the same movie fucking redone. Watch that shit. Well, actually don't watch it, but it's definitely the same movie redone infinitely worse. This is not the same movie. You know, in the first movie we didn't get this character development for the bandit. We didn't get Sally Field and Burt Reynolds' character butting heads like this. Their relationship isn't actually a happy one in this. There's more conflict thrown into the mix, but they still do have the banter. And this is about transporting an elephant across the country, which I think already gives it a standout kind of, you know, it's still a road trip movie, they're still going across, you know, but there's an elephant. There's a bloody elephant. What's the ultimate difference you can have in a movie? Stick a bloody elephant in. It's basically about Burt Reynolds, Sally Field and Jerry Reed transporting a bloody elephant cross country, being pursued again by Sheriff Buford, played by Jackie Gleason. And I feel like this is more of a sweet movie. It's more of a movie aimed at kids than the first one, I'd say. I feel like there's a charm, there's an innocence. You know, the elephant gives it that innocence, I must say. Charlotte is the name of the elephant, the character of the elephant. And she's sweet, you know, elephants are sweet, guys. You know, to see them transporting this elephant across, you know, it just gives it that little adorable touch, doesn't it? It's really interesting, the idea that the bandit is dealing with losing fame in this. There's, you know, it's kind of, they do a good job in this sequel, making it serious but also comedic. Like, he goes into a service station and starts threatening a guy and like trying to beat him up because he doesn't respect him anymore. The people lost all respect for the bandit and they don't really know who he is or care who he is.
How about if I give you one of my posters? You know, me and the Trans Am going up the World Trade Center?
Buzz off, I'm busy.
God damn it, I'm one of the most beloved grassroots folk heroes of America.
Hey, get out of here, you weirdo!
Listen to me. Little kids love me, parents love me, everybody loves me. Now you come on out here and love me or I'm gonna kick your little skinny ass.
And the bandit gets so worked up that people don't know him, but it's also kind of tragic. They make the bandit kind of a tragic character in this. And, you know, Sally Field and Burt Reynolds have some emotional moments back and forth where she's saying to him, I want you to be the old bandit, I want you to feel like that again, but it's up to you how you do. And the film isn't afraid to make the bandit a little bit unlikable in some moments of this. This is probably why it didn't resonate with people, but I feel like the journey is there. You know, you could look at this as just a silly sequel, but I think there's actually more going on. Well, there definitely is. There's more character stuff going on than there was in the first Smokey and the Bandit. There's the fantastic set pieces and action. It's all back. You know, Hal Needham is again the director, a real life stuntman. He brings that real sense of speed and that, you know, you feel present on those roads. You feel the urgency. It's all there. You know, it's I think Smokey and the Bandit, the first one, does that slightly better. It's more authentic, but this, it still has it. Might not be as good, but I just prefer the whole package of the sequel. And I feel like the speed is there, the intensity is there, the action scenes are there. There's a fantastic culmination scene in the desert between the bandit and the sheriff, where a bunch of cars get involved, a bunch of trucks get involved. It's just this wild combination in the desert. I absolutely love that. And it's where the bandit kind of is trying to prove himself again. You know, and Jackie Gleason is just as funny in this one. You know, again, you know, if you see him in little scenes just going off at people, he's hilarious. But when you put him as the main character, or one of the main characters in part 3, he's not as good. This is what I like about these movies. They take me back to a time where every actor mattered and they all did their part to make the movie entertaining. And if you take one element out or two elements out, the movie doesn't work as well, because everything's a real kind of, everyone is part of the integral workings of the movie. You know, you take one of them out, it doesn't feel right. And I love that, because it kind of has this family vibe to it. Kind of has this believable relationship to it. And Burt Reynolds and Sally Field actually began a relationship in real life working on Smokey and the Bandit. So, you know, this is why it comes through. It comes through as organic and believable. It does what some sequels don't have the guts to do, which is take things further. But essentially, it's still a Smokey and the Bandit movie. It still has that wonderful freedom to it, that wonderful energy to it. And I really, really love Smokey and the Bandit Part 2. I know lots of people who have seen this series most of them will prefer Part 1. And I fully agree, it's a wonderful film and it only just loses out Smokey and the Bandit Part 2. This is just a personal preference for me. These movies are wonderful, guys. If you haven't seen, well, except for the third, watch Smokey and the Bandit 1 and 2. You know, they will take you back to a time where movies were different. They just were. And where you don't get stars like Burt Reynolds anymore. You just don't. The man just steps in front of the camera and he's a star. You just believe in him straight away. You know, he's so well cast as the bandit. You know, these movies are great. They're moments in time. I love the 70s. You know, I know Part 2 is the 1980, but it began in the 70s. I love that time where experimental filmmaking was still going on and would get successful. Let me know, you guys, if you have seen the Smokey and the Bandit trilogy. Let me know if you've seen any of the made-for-TV films, because dear God, I'm not going near them. I highly recommend this series, guys. It's a load of fun. In these crazy times, you just want to escape and have some positive entertainment. It's all there in the Smokey and the Bandit movies. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this ranking video, I have several other rankings on my channel. Some will be on the screen now. Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.